So what happens when you take Konami, creators of some of the most difficult shooter games ever in existence, and LucasArts, creators of some of the funniest adventure games on the PC, combine them and make a game? Why, you get the two-player cooperative zombie-killing slugfest Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And we're gonna play it until we win. This game is by far one of the best games released on the Super Nintendo, and considering that system's library of excellent games, that's really saying something. The gameplay, graphics, and sound are perfect. Now, much like my Kentaru video, I'm not going to be going over every level of the game. I mean, there are 55 levels in this game, and that's insane. I'm sorry, but I don't feel like being here a week explaining to you how to beat every level. Of course, I'm getting ahead of myself. First, let's talk about my tips for staying alive in Zombies Ate My Neighbors. First, conserve your ammo. I know we all want to rack up a high score, but the score doesn't count unless you beat the game, and you can't get through some of the stages without a ton of ammunition. There are more than a few stages where you need to destroy these worm creatures, and man, they take a lot of damage. The first time you encounter them, you're going to need every single bit of bazooka ammunition you can muster up, and even then, it's probably not going to be enough. Next, save that monster potion. Yeah, I know, transforming into a hideous, powerful, and invincible monster in this game is great fun. But if you burn through all your potions, it's a surefire way to never make it past the later levels of the game. And if you're as horrible at beating some of these bosses as I am, you're going to need a lot of monster potions. Now, the faster you are, the better. Running around killing monsters is one thing, but you've got to save people first. In each level, there are a possible 10 victims to rescue, but each time a monster kills a victim, your total number of victims to rescue decreases by 1. I realize what I just said is common sense, but it carries over to each level. If the monsters kill 10 victims over the course of the game, it's game over, no matter how many spare lives you have left. Saving everyone should be your first priority. Now on the flip side, after you've rescued everyone, don't be in such a hurry to leave the stage. There are a ton of hidden objects in this game, and lots of places to explore. If you don't take the time to explore every nook and cranny, you're going to miss out on a lot of ammunition, potions, and 1-ups, all of which will be very helpful later in the game. You really need to keep track of your keys and skeleton keys in this game. Now, the standard keys will open most doors, but the skeleton keys will open the doors that the other key doesn't open. And if you lose track of how many keys you have, you could very well end up backtracking through the entire stage just to find that one key you missed. Conserve your keys if you can, but don't be alarmed if you run out of them. Just backtrack through the level to find one. Don't be afraid to walk into walls in this game. A lot of times you'll pass through a section you didn't think had a secret passage, and you'll find a ton of gold and, possibly, a key. Don't bother trying to kill every enemy in the stage, because you can't. The enemies don't stop respawning. You can hide in water as long as you want. This can give you some time to relax and figure out just what the heck you need to do to stay alive. The only monsters you need to worry about are the mermen and any monster that fires a projectile. Enemies that take a lot of damage, like the mummies, aren't usually worth your time. I usually just skip them and conserve ammo. There are a ton of weapons in this game. Now, the regular ones like the water pistol, the knives, and the plates only do damage, but there are some weapons that actually have a special purpose. The bazooka fires a rocket that does massive damage, but it can also blow open walls and some doors and hedges. Yeah, I don't know why you need to blow up hedges, but who cares? The football appeases the zombie football players, and that's the only time you really want to use it. Otherwise, it doesn't do enough damage to be noteworthy. The Ankh creates a protective barrier around you. You're practically invincible while using it, and every enemy takes serious damage from it. There's only 2 problems though. It's extremely hard to come by, and the range is extremely short. The Weed Whacker is the single most awesome weapon in the game. Why? Not only does it cut through grass and weeds, but also spiderwebs and mutant jelly space aliens. And it's the most powerful weapon in the game. I'm serious, stand in front of any enemy with the Weed Whacker and go to town on them. You can take down practically any enemy in a few seconds. There are also a ton of useful items in this game. Now, aside from keys which open doors and skeleton keys which open other doors, there are a ton of items that don't open doors. The health kit will restore you to full life. Stocking up on this kit for use in the later levels is essential to winning the game. The shoes make you walk about 3 times as fast, and they help when you're in a tight spot and need to get away from the hordes of enemies tracking you down. Pandora's box unleashes a heavenly wrath on your undead opponents. Using it destroys most of the enemies on screen, or just damages the larger enemies and bosses. The blue potion turns you into a ghost. You can't open doors or use your weapons in this state, but you can't get hit by the enemies either. The mystery potion does one of several things at random. It can turn you into a monster, makes you walk fast, restores your health, makes you invincible, poisons you, or kills you. It's a lot like playing Russian roulette with 2 bullets in the firing chamber. Personally, I only use it when I'm desperate. The red potion turns you into an invincible monster for a short period of time. You can punch to attack the enemies or destroy walls. The only thing you can't do in this form is swim, but remember to save these potions. They're enormously useful and rare in the later levels. Now, there are a lot of levels here, and I'm not going to talk about them like I said. What I can talk about are the enemies and the bosses. And believe me, there are a ton of enemies in this game. The zombies are the basic enemies of the game. They lumber around pretty quickly and will try to hurt you by touching you, but they're fairly easy to avoid. I mean, all you have to do is run away from them, and they're also very easy to kill. One shot from the water gun will make them explode. The chainsaw lunatic is a hard one to deal with. His chainsaw lets him cut through most walls and bushes so he can follow you relentlessly, and he does some big damage. Your best bet is to freeze him and run away, or shoot him with the bazooka. The Chucky doll is annoying. He's super fast, he throws axes at you, and he's smaller than a normal monster, so that makes him harder to hit. I generally avoid fighting the midget from hell, but when I have to, I use the weed whacker. The fire demon is similar to the evil midget and has the same problems. The only difference is you can actually kill him with the fire extinguisher rather than freezing him. The merman is a faster and stronger version of the zombie, and he can swim. He only takes 5 hits from the water gun, so he isn't that big of a problem, but you do need to watch out for him. While you're underwater, you cannot attack, but he can still hurt you. The werewolf is a nasty son of a gun. He can jump clear across the screen, so you can't just trap him behind a wall and run away. Oh no, you're gonna need to kill him or completely avoid him. Your best option is to use the weed whacker or bazooka here. Of course, the cool thing about the werewolf is his death animation. I mean, does he just vomit his soul out or what? The giant ant is one of the most annoying monsters in the game. He's hard to kill, does a lot of damage, is as fast as you, and can climb over walls. Plus, there are usually a ton of them in any given level. In most cases, you don't run into these guys in open spaces either. They're always coming out in the closed areas. I've never found a reliable way to kill these guys, so I just keep shooting them with everything I've got. Usually the weed whacker and the bazooka work best. Now, the blob is a pain and practically invincible. He's not too much of a problem since he sticks to one area, but he is as fast as you and he does cause damage. The biggest problem is that he really doesn't take any hits from any of your weapons. You need to use the bazooka or the weed whacker to do anything to him. The alien plants are everywhere in this damn game. Once you get past level 10, these things are all over the place. If the main plant is around, they continue to grow. The only way to get rid of them is to use the weed whacker and cut your way through the thicket. The alien plant also fires out blobs in your general direction. If you get hit by it, you'll be covered and unable to attack or use your items for a short period of time. The pod clone is pretty cool. It's the classic sci-fi pod that sprouts from the ground and grows a clone of your player. The clone isn't as smart as you, though, and can be killed in one hit. It also doesn't attack, other than walking into you. The only problem is that if there's one pod clone on the level, then there are dozens of them waiting to sprout. They're almost as numerous as zombies when they're around. The zombie football players are really cool and very original. They just run around on the field like zombie football players and try to rush at you. They don't really do too much damage, but they will send you flying across the screen. All you have to do to beat them is throw a football at them and then they'll run in the other direction. I gotta admit, that's pretty original. The mummy is a hard one to kill. He's slow and lumbering, but he hits hard and he takes a lot of damage. You'll find him mostly in the pyramid levels, but he also shows up later in the game for no other reason than you're getting near the end of the game and LucasArts had to recycle most of the enemies. The easiest way to kill him is either as the transformed monster or with the bazooka. The Martian is an original enemy, but annoying. He fires out this ray gun that encases you in a bubble. Not only does the gun hurt you, but any enemies in the area can hit you while you're in the bubble. 2 hits, 1 shot. Man, that's a great sniper kill rate. Dracula makes an appearance in this game too. He can turn into several bats and fly around the stage, but he also attacks you by, shooting a bat at you. Yeah, Dracula shoots bats at you. He's also really annoying. He can't be hurt in his flying form, and he takes so much damage in his normal form that it's just not worth the time and effort to try and kill him. When he's in the level, all I usually do is just live with him as an annoyance and ignore him. Finally, there's the Frankenstein monster, and this guy is impossible. Not only does he hit hard, he shoots electricity out of his arms. Plus, he takes a ton of damage to take down. Whenever I see him in the level, and it's only in the later levels, I tend to avoid him, because he's just so hard to take down, I'd rather just conserve my ammo and move on. Now I know I complain a lot about these hard games having piss-easy end bosses, but man, this game got carried away. Not only are the levels difficult, but the bosses are almost impossible. They're insane. The first boss you'll face is the Titanic Toddler. He's essentially a 60-foot tall baby that waddles around the screen and squirts milk all over the place. If he hits you with the milk, you take damage, but if he runs over you, he squishes you flat, and when you're flat like a pancake, you can take even more damage from the other enemies on the screen. There are a couple of problems when trying to deal with this guy. First, he's fast. He can blaze around the screen about 3 times as fast as you can, and if he hits you, he flattens you. That's a problem. So your primary objective when fighting this guy is to avoid getting trampled. Second, he shoots milk, and milk droplets that large hurt. So your second objective is to avoid the damn milk. The next problem, he takes far too much damage to bring down. We're talking on the level of hundreds of shots from the water gun, so high damage output is a must. You'll be going through a lot of rockets, and even then, you'll still be throwing plates, forks, and popsicles at this thing. The amount of health this guy has is crazy. If you thought 18 hits and shotgun was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. On top of all of that, there are a ton of giant mutant killer ants running around the place, and they never stop respawning. So how do you beat this monstrosity? Well, the first time you meet him, he'll be in a shopping mall that has 2 floors. On the second floor, he can't touch you, but the ants and the milk can get to you. And on the first floor, there's some safe spots where he can't trample you. If you're thinking of following this guy from behind and hitting him, think again. This kid moves so fast and changes direction so often that if you try this tactic, you're gonna get squished more than a few times. To beat this guy, you've got to take a wait-and-see approach. Hang out in the safe spots dodging ants and wait for the monster to stop running around. Fortunately, he seems to get tired and just stands in one spot for a long period of time. That's your opportunity to attack. He'll fire milk at you, but just give him everything you've got while he's standing still. Of course, once he starts running around, get the hell out of there. You don't want him trampling you again. Thankfully, this is the only level where you're required to beat him. In the other stages, you can just walk by him. The next incredibly difficult boss are the Snakeoids. And man, talk about insanely difficult. A reference to the Graboids and Tremors, these snake-like creatures travel under the earth, pop out of the ground, and try to kill you with their tongues. Whatever it is they're doing, it's annoying. Now, unlike the giant killer baby, the Snakeoids aren't that fast. They do tend to pop out of the ground at random intervals, and they have a longer than expected reach with their tongue attack. If you only had to fight one of these things at a time, it wouldn't be so bad. The strategy would be to entice the sandworm to come out of the ground by walking over it, then quickly walk away before it springs out and tries to eat you, then attack it with everything you've got. The problem here is that there are sometimes 2, 3, and even 4 of these baddies on screen at the same time. Taking out one of them is difficult enough, but 2? That's a chore. Fortunately, there are some strategies you can use to kill them. This is one of the rare monsters where I encourage using your monster potions. By standing in one spot, you can entice the same sandworm to come out and attack you over and over again. But since you're invincible, all you have to do is stand around and punch the sandworms until they die. Of course, the downside is that you'll go through 4 or 5 potions to take down one sandworm, and that's probably not acceptable. Your other option is to just keep moving. While I generally prefer the first option, if you keep moving around the screen, you won't give the sandworms an opportunity to hit you. The problem is that these bosses take forever to kill, and your thumbs are going to fall off from all the running around you need to do. Oh, and don't try to get cute either. If you hide in an area where the sandworms can't reach you, they simply won't come out to attack you. So your options are simple. Burn through your monster potions or burn your thumbs off. In either case, good luck, because these guys are hard as hell. The next boss is Dr. Tongue. He drinks a potion that turns him into a huge spider monster, and holy hell is he hard! His main attack is sending out these miniature spiders at you. They're the second most annoying things on the screen, next to the forest of spider webs he spits out at you. If you touch the webs, you slow down, so you either need the shoes to walk through fast, or you need the weed whacker to cut through it. You'll actually fight him twice in this form, once halfway through the game and the other time in the last level. In both battles, you're basically stuck with the same strategies. Your first option is to burn through your monster potions and go to town on him. This method is fine for the final fight since you won't be needing those potions anymore, but if you're on the first encounter, you may want to save him. If you are on the first encounter, or if you just don't have enough potions to finish him off, your second course of action is to stick to the edges of the screen and attack him from afar. The only real problem with this strategy is running out of gas for the weed whacker and getting killed by the annoying spiders he hatches. Another good strategy for inflicting a lot of damage is to walk into the huge spider with your Ankh attack. You'll be able to do a lot of damage to the spider without taking any yourself. Just be sure to get away before the Ankh power runs out, or you'll end up taking an unhealthy dose of damage. There aren't any weapons that are super effective against him. The bazooka seems to do the most damage, but everything pretty much hits him at the same rate. There is a bit of a different strategy you can take with the second encounter. Conserve your weed whacker ammo. I know, it's almost impossible, but you'll want to save the ammo for after the battle, because he transforms into a big giant head and shoots tongues and eyeballs at you. And when you're fighting this final boss, you'll want to have some weed whackers left to clear the walking path. The final boss is crazy difficult. He likes to move around the edge of the room shooting 3 tongues at you. Well, that's not too difficult to avoid, especially if you're able to clear a path through the mess of spider webs that he left behind. The real problem here is the amount of damage he does, the amount of damage he takes, and the fact that sometimes he'll stop shooting tongues at you and just try to ram you into the wall. I've never found a good way to kill this guy. Other than burn through your monster potions and punch him in the face until he dies, I really don't have much advice for you. LucasArts put an extra bit of AI into him so that every time you shoot a projectile, he can dodge it. That's unlike every other monster in the game, and this actually makes it quite a bit difficult to beat him. If you run out of monster potions, the only other piece of advice I can give you is to unload on him. He is the final boss and there's not much to do after this, so just go to town, waste all the ammo you can, and kill him as fast as possible. Well, that zombies ate my neighbors in a nutshell, folks. And if you'll excuse me, I need to go eat some brains.